Hey you guys, what's going on? My name is Ryrie the Writer. I hope you guys are having a great week. I'm currently dying. It's hot and it keeps getting hotter and I'm so ready for fall. I'm ready for Christmas. I'm ready for Santa. I'm ready for hot chocolate. I'm ready for sweaters. I don't like this heat no more. I'm over it. I'm over the heat. I don't like this. But yeah, let's talk about Mufasa, the Lion King. I just got done, actually just right now, watching the trailer. I watched it twice, just because I wanted to make sure I actually understood the story, and I just wanted to dive into what it was that Disney was presenting us on this platter. On this plate. I did another video on this, kind of explaining what the synopsis of the movie was going to be about. And I had mentioned that the story was going to heavily revolve not only around Mufasa, but we were going to be able to see Scar's backstory and where he had come from and why there's so much animosity between him and Mufasa. Originally, I'm just basing this off of the cartoons we were given back in the 90s. Originally, it was told to us that Mufasa and Scar were brothers. That's what I knew. They were brothers. And I assumed that they were biological brothers. It was kind of mentioned a little bit in there, and because I feel like I have to go back and watch the cartoon version of The Lion King, but the movie is great. I've watched it so many times when I was a little kid, but I feel like I have to go back and watch it just to get those little subtle inklings that kind of paint the picture that they were biological brothers, not like Mufasa being an orphan. So it kind of threw me off in this trailer. I'm not gonna cap you guys, I was very mad confused about that. Because originally, I thought it was that they were biological brothers. I assumed that because they're lions, and there can only be, granted, you can have multiple male lions in a pride. And that happens a lot of the times. You'll have, let's say, a family gives birth to, four or five cubs, and 3 of them are male. Usually when the male lions are ousted or they leave of their own will, because they know it's just time for them to go on their own solo journey, the male will typically stay together, the brothers or cousins. And a lot of times they'll form their own prides with, I don't know if you guys have ever seen, on Discovery, you'll see a pride with 3, 4. I think the largest male pride was 4, 5 maybe that survived long term, 4 or 5 male lions. But that's just my point though. So I assumed that Mufasa and Scar were either brothers, because he said brother, right? It couldn't be any other way. Or maybe cousins, but cousins, brothers, you're growing up in the same pride. You're dealing with the same moms, aunts, it's the same dad. It's just, we're brothers regardless. So that's what I'm saying. That was my fixing on the story. But to know that it's official that Mufasa is an orphan. Scar found Mufasa. It's just, man, it's not a bad story plot, but it's you're retconning everything that we had previous, and they're laying down a new foundation over cement. So you're walking on the foundation that was already there, and it's now you have to just maneuver through these new steps, even though we already had steps. But it's these new steps explain a little bit of the old steps, but it's just, there's a lot going on. But from the trailer, Scar saves Mufasa. Mufasa is an orphan. Scar is actually he's being set up as to be the future king. He's a prince. And clearly from the trailer, Scar's mother didn't even want Mufasa around because he's just, you know, like a random. Which makes sense, right? It makes sense because it's like, where did this little cub come from? Like, we don't do that. And typically, if we're talking about like, you know, nature and lions, they don't even do that. They don't really let random people just into the pride. It takes a lot of work, especially, you know, foreign males, they get casted out. Females, unless like the male lion is going after her, but you know, it's just the point. It's like, okay, now we have this random little cub floating in the water or something, maybe getting attacked by an alligator. Then you have a Scar who saves him and brings him into the pride, and they become brothers. But at the same time, you have Scar's father who's professing that, no, Scar, my son, is going to be the future king. But what's going to be interesting, though, is that with Scar, I like, just from the cartoons, a lot of the hatred was that, you know, he had towards Mufasa. I do believe a lot of that came from, you know, it's like the internal situation between like their father. So it's going to be interesting how Disney kind of like flows with that. Whereas, you know, you have that scene where Scar's father, you know, wants Scar to be king. Then that switches from that attention going now to Mufasa being the future king. So it's just, it's a lot of like inner family drama. It's interesting to me. It is interesting to me. I'm a little bit fascinated by it. A little bit confused. Because I'm still looking at everything through the lens of the older Lion King. And even Lion King 2. That's fine. 1.5, I don't count that one. But Lion King 2, 1 and 2. You know, I'm really just looking at the lens through there. How this is going to go, I don't know. You know, I was looking at some of the comments from the video. You have a lot of people who are upset with the change of the story, because like, I'm still going to use that word. It's retconning, and this is something that Disney is notoriously doing to all their past legacy stories. They're changing some of the characters. They're changing some of the narratives. They're changing some of the outcomes. You know, rightfully so, people can be upset about that, which is fair. So you kind of have like a mixed bag of people in the comment sections. Me, for one, what I will say is yes, I can spot out the fallacies. Because you have to be honest. Like, I have to be honest. I can't be that person who's just gonna go, yeah, I see this, and definitely this all makes sense. It doesn't all the way make sense. It doesn't all the way 100% add up. How they're going to tell the story, maybe it's going to make more sense. Like, they can fill in all the gaps. But so far from what we're getting just from the orphan story, us growing up and believing that they were actually blood brothers, Scar having that the animosity towards Mufasa, and knowing that Mufasa was the favorite child, you know, then the ancestors too. I'm a little bit curious about that, because in the cartoon, Mufasa was really connected to the spirits and to the ancestors and bloodline, and this land has been passed down from generation to generation. It's been in our family. Now I'm going, okay, Mufasa, you're an orphan. What? It's like little Annie right here. You're an orphan. That hair. Little Annie orphan right over here. Just coming over here. You don't even belong here. Where'd you even come from? You're adopted. I don't know, laugh, but it's just like, yeah, you're adopted. Oh, I don't know, Disney. I don't know. That just threw me for a loop. They could have just been brothers. They could have just been brothers. But now, I am sympathetic and caring for the villain. I just based off this trailer, y'all. Just based off this trailer, I don't know if I even like Mufasa. Because now that I'm looking at this with a brand new pair of lens, now I'm going, okay, Mufasa, you really took the crown from someone and you didn't even deserve it. This was not even your blood right. Now I'm looking at Scar going, wow, okay, Scar has every right to be pissed. He has every right to be mad. Because you took my Pride lands. You took Pride Rock from me. I'm not sure how they're going to spin the story. They could have migrated to the Pride Rocks, but that wouldn't make any sense either. Because it seems like everything was passed down. I don't know. I'm not one of the writers there. But from Mufasa's viewpoint, it's going, yeah, you took my crown. You took the Pride Rock. You took the Pride lands. Everything that the sun touches is mine. And it was not yours. So not only are you an orphan, but Simba is a thief. Simba took stolen land from my bloodline. From my bloodline, I'm tripping. My bloodline. So now I'm looking at Scar and going, okay, I'm sympathizing with you. I understand your pain. Killing someone, that's on you. But I do understand the pain in him ganging up with the hyenas and killing Mufasa and scaring Simba away, because it's just like, you guys are invaders. That's basically the word I'm looking for. We have invader Simba and invader Mufasa taking over Scar's lands. Plus all the women too. All that. There's a lot to this. I'm going to see this movie. It's coming out in November. I'm going to go see it. Because I saw the first live action. I wouldn't even really call this live action. I just call this like 2D, 3D. What, CGI. But yeah, so live action. I saw the first live action. I'm going to see this one because I love Lion King. Anything else about the trailer that I kind of just want to point out? I do wish, and this is just me, it probably won't bother the rest of you guys, but it bothers me a little bit. The lack of coloring, the color grading from the trailer, it feels very lackluster. I wish that they brought in more color hues like we got to see back in the cartoons. But I understand this is realistic. I'm not going to call it photorealism, but it's more realistic and there aren't that many colors. But at the same time, there are colors in Africa, but could they have increased the shade? Possibly. And it would have been nice to have seen a little bit of that. Everything from the trailer just looks muted to me. Everything just looks gray and white, and that's it. It's just like really just muted tones of brown. So everything kind of just blends in together. I can't really, differentiate between like the grass and the lions and the sky. It looks the same, the trees. It's like one blended coloring of just story, and it's just thrown right in front of you. Then compared to like the 1990s, where it's like Simba is this bright yellow lion and he has this cute pink nose. Then you have his father with this beautiful red mane, and it's glorious and it's full, and he's like kind of like a different shade of like gold. And then you have Scar, who's this brown kind of chocolate lion with piercing green eyes and this black coat, this mane. I'm not there. I'm not Disney. I'm not the Walt Disney Foundation or studios. I'm not there for that. But could they have changed that, and instead of making Scar like a grayish kind of lion or closer to white, like that hue, Could he have been more brown toned or darker toned, or could he have had more blacker features, or not Simba, but Mufasa having more like brighter tones? Because lions do have shiny coats. Like I've seen pictures. I'll probably just throw one on the screen. I've seen lions with very gorgeous yellow, red undertones, gold. They're beautiful, but these look very just like dull. That's the word right there. They just look very dull. Another thing, because I'm not trying to like point out everything I just don't like. It's just some things I kind of just noticed. But another thing was, and this is no shade to the voice actors, because let me see if I can go to it too. Because I get it. I'm telling you guys like this. If Disney came to me and said, Rye, we want you to play with something disrespectful. You think of something super disrespectful. How far disrespectful do I want to go? Rye, we want you to play Pocahontas. Y'all, I'm black too. This is why I do have some American Indian in me as well, but I'm black. Rye, we want you to go out there and be Native American, and we're gonna pay you $2.3 million, $1 million to go do this. You're gonna get all the fan service. While we're filming, you're gonna be able to go to Disneyland as many times as you want. And we're gonna have live shows. We're gonna showcase you here. You're gonna travel to all the other Disneylands across the globe. You're gonna go to Disneyland Japan, you name it. We're gonna create dolls, this and that. I'm taking the money. Y'all are gonna be like mad at me. That's fine. I will be Pocahontas. That's fine. That is fine. Y'all be pissed off online. The hate will be real, but I will take it gracefully. So I'm not mad. I'll never be mad at any of the actors that take on a role, because they need money too. They gotta live. This is their bread and butter. But yeah, I had to look it up. It's Aaron Pierre, who's the voice of Mufasa in Lion King, this new Lion King, Mufasa. I gotta say it, the accent, it just, it could have been, and I understand they're younger lions. The children I'm not worried about, that's fine. But could have been a deeper voice, or could have had more of like an African kind of grit to it, or something close to the original Lion King, the voice actor. Like Earl back in 1994. Let me see if I can pull out his. You see, yeah, James Earl Jones. Could they have found something? Could they have found someone with a little bit of a deeper voice, or something with a little bit more depth to it? That's the word right there, depth. Possibly, but I'm not mad at my brother. My brother's taking on this role, and he's just doing what he got to do. For Scar though. The voice. I was going through the comment sections. I was wondering if anyone else was going to point that out either. And I saw a lot in the comment sections. They said he sounds like an English bloke from Oxnard. And the minute I read that, I went, that's what it was. That's what Scar's voice sounded like in Mufasa. It does not sound... That's Scar's voice, but I get it. He's not bitter yet. Maybe the bitterness is what draws the evilness out of your voice. Like it just comes out, it protrudes. So maybe once they have Mufasa and Scar have their tiff, then his voice become menacing and dark. A little bit charming, but dark. So maybe that's what happens, but But I get it. Like I said, I get it. You're just taking your money. You're taking the paycheck. I'm not going to be mad at anybody for that. Man. Yeah. But other than that, it's a fascinating story. We are going to get to see Scar in a different light. Like I said, I do sympathize more with Scar. I do understand his anger towards Mufasa. It's there. I would have been pissed off too if it was my birthright to become queen and I found this chick in the water and I saved her life and we end up in a tussle and a rivalry for this land, for everything that I've ever known to be mine, and it's not, and it doesn't end up being mine, and it goes to this random. I'm pissed. I'm gonna become a villain. And like that, I've always heard is like villains always have a story. Like they were never villains to start with. So I see what Disney's kind of doing there. It's giving their villains an opportunity to explain themselves. It's kind of like what Disney did with Maleficent. Maleficent back in the animated cartoon movie that came out many years ago. None of us were alive for that, but many years ago. All we got to see is the evil Maleficent, the Maleficent that cursed Aurora, that wanted to, off that kingdom, that wanted to kill the prince, and she turned into a dragon and had so much hate for this family. In the more modern Maleficent, we soon find out that the king was actually evil, and she was actually just a beautiful fairy with gorgeous wings and fantastic hair and a really great H&M wardrobe. And this really cruel, evil boy, he wasn't even a king, but an evil boy, took her wings and became the king, and she could no longer touch the sky and fly, and she had to live on the ground and walk. I would have been pissed off too, but Maleficent ends up falling in love with Aurora, and her love is what saves the kingdom. So I see what Disney's doing. Before anyone gets mad, Disney's kind of going back to all their older stories and trying to fill in gaps and trying to have give us like a deeper understanding of their villains. It's a little bit different for this one, but at the same time, this movie is not out yet. We got a couple more months. We're barely in the month of August, so we got some time for everything to kind of just lay down. But once the movie does come out, then you actually get to see my honest take on the story, to see how it is. But so far, like I said, it's the muted tones for me. The voice actors, a little up and down, a little up and down. The story has great potential. It is there. There's something there. The animation style, the CGI is, it's okay. It's not the greatest. It's okay. And I think Disney knows it's not the greatest. It's okay. Because if I'm going to compare animals, like especially recently, we had the Planet of the Apes, the Kingdom of the Apes. The CGI in there is gorgeous. It's beautiful. It has always been gorgeous, especially if you go back to the first Planet of the Apes that came out, early 2010s, 2011, I think. That's when it came out. Like the Rise of the Planet of the Apes. If you look at those monkeys, they look real. They look real. There's a lot of coloring. There's a lot of shading. They fit. There's a lot of weight to who they are, and they just fit in the world. I'm looking at these lines. It's something about just the CGI. Something, I don't know how to explain it. It's just something it's a little bit off. I don't know if the animators were being paid enough, if they were being overworked, they had to do, reshoots or reanimation, if something was going on, they weren't paid enough. I don't know. But something doesn't, there's something there, but this is what we got. So I'll wait until the official movie does come out before I give you guys my opinion. But so far, like I said, I'm going to go see it. If you're curious enough, you can go see it. But so far, we just have a clean story. Nothing crazy going on. It is what it is. Right, but tell me down below, have you guys seen the trailer? Are you going to go see it? What do you think about this? Orphans? I'm gonna call Mufasa that. Orphan Annie. I got the picture in my head now. Imagine Annie with that little curly afro. That is Mufasa. And he's an invader. Where did he come from? Where'd this man come from? I don't know. Where did Mufasa come from? Where did this man come from? We need to get rid of him. now I get it too. like now I do get it. When Scar's over going like, long live the king. Claws come off, boom, falls into the wildebeest. I get it. I wouldn't do that. So I'm not trying to be out here killing people, but I get it. This is gonna be a sad story the way it's being painted. This all looks very depressing, but that's what The Lion King is. If you weren't a child in the 90s or early 2000s crying when Mufasa died, and you have baby Simba over his dead body trying to wake up his father, if that did not give you trauma as a child, were you really watching The Lion King? Were you really watching it? No. We all cried. I cried so much. Why did my parents keep putting that on? Why did they keep watching the trauma? I don't know. Disney, stop traumatizing us.